I had a knock on my door at 6:16 in the morning. So I opened the door and it was this guy. He says, "Is Albert here?" And I rudely said, "No, there's no Albert here." And I slammed the door and locked it. A few hours later, I woke up, and as I turned around, there was a man sitting down next to my bed, staring at me. My story begins in 1987. My father had passed away in 84. We had a family restaurant. My mom did what a lot of stereotypical Italian families do. When my father died, she gave the business to my brothers. Needless to say, my brothers did not handle it responsibly. The business went under. I ended up having to file bankruptcy because I couldn't catch up. All I wanted to do was go to college, get a degree, do the best I could in my life. So I came to Texas, started working. I started college. I was going about my life. I had had a little girl. I had talked to my sister, and I was supposed to go stay and visit with her in July of 1990. What ended up happening was, at the last minute, I canceled that trip. Well, that next morning, I got a call from my sister, Stephanie. My sister, Phyllis, was missing. You don't know what to do in those moments. The police had gone to her house and could tell that a crime had occurred. Both her and her fiance were missing. And there was blood in the house, so we knew something seriously bad had happened. By the time I got to Houston, I called my boss and I decided I was going to go to North Carolina. I didn't have the money at the time to take a plane, so I drove from South Texas to North Carolina. We had found out that Scott, my sister's fiance, had been found down a dirt road, and he had been shot in the back of the head, execution style. That was the moment we knew this might not end up right. My sister was still missing. There were helicopters flying overhead everywhere. There was a massive search for her. The news was covering it. Everybody was out looking for her. Dealing with all that while you're trying to find a loved one is a lot. My sister wasn't found until, I believe it was April of 1991. Yeah, she was missing for 9 months. My sister was found 50 miles outside of our hometown. 2 fishermen that had turned down a dirt road to actually go pee. One of them found a skull with duct tape on it, and they had the sense to call the sheriff's department, and my sister was identified by her dental records. It was just skeletal remains. Talking about going to a funeral like that, that is another thing that I don't think people know what it's like. When you have skeletal remains, it's just a closed casket funeral with a photo of the person. There's a part of you that wants to open it, but then you don't want to do that because you don't want to be disturbed by the sight that you're going to see. I can only imagine what my mother went through. That was her firstborn. It was difficult. Had I gone, I would have been there, and who knows if I would have ended up dead. I would have been there when she was attacked, which is very disturbing to me on many levels, because you start thinking about higher power and purpose in life, and you say, why was I not supposed to die that day? Why did I not go? If I went, could I have saved her? My sister was brutally. There were multiple people involved. Would I have been? Would my little girl been? Who knows? I'm sad but grateful at the same time, which is very confusing and conflicting. I wish my little girl could have met my sister. She never met her. And Phyllis was my favorite sister. We were the same. She rode horses. She had a classic Mustang muscle car, and she could work on it. She was my hero as a little girl. I went to her for everything. I know she ended up getting killed, but I tell you what, Phyllis, she gave those guys a run for their money. I tell you what, she did not go down without a fight till the last second. I know her. So her body was found. She was identified by her dental records. We had the funeral, and America's Most Wanted did another story on it. And there was a reward for her. The FBI had, I believe, a $75,000 reward. Those photos are actually still on. If you were to Google her case, you could see the reward photos. Someone pointed that out to me, all three of the people that killed her. Actually, there were four involved, excuse me. Through a tip from America's Most Wanted, because of the reward, one of the family members turned them in. So there was four people. It was a father and his son. The father's girlfriend and her son is who committed this crime. The three were caught in the Dominican Republic, living in, from what I was told, very inhumane conditions. And then the son, the girlfriend's son, he was picked up in New York. So the trial was scheduled for October of 1994. I can recall every detail to this day. I had a knock on my door at 6:16 in the morning. So I opened the door and it was this guy. He says, "Is Albert here?" And I rudely said, "No, there's no Albert here." And I slammed the door and locked it. A few hours later, I woke up, and as I turned around, there was a man sitting down next to my bed, staring at me. That same man who proceeded to try to and kill me. I just kept screaming, flailing. It's so scary to have someone try to suffocate you. I can't even describe it. I said to myself, I'm gonna let this man me. I don't want to die right now. And then he took the pillow off my face. I kicked him. I'd been training a year. I fell off the bed. There was a belt on the floor. He grabbed the belt, put it around my neck. I had a mirror in my bedroom, and I remember looking in the mirror, and I saw my face with this belt, and I said to myself, I'm going to die. I thought of my little girl coming home and finding my dead body, and I started fighting again. His finger got in my mouth, and I said to myself, I'm going to bite this finger off if I have to. His was gushing in my mouth. He lets go because he's now injured. As soon as I fell off the bed, as I was falling, I pulled my curtains down because I was thinking somebody needs to see me. And then without hesitation, I got up, ran out my front door, and joggers came over to rescue me. The guy had run out, but one of them, a brave man, cornered him. And my neighbors had actually heard me screaming, and they had called the police, and they caught him, and he got out on bail the next day. And he was gone for 5 years. He got 2 years, and they gave him credit for the time he served for a different crime for my case. He has, since he attacked me, 12 additional charges. He is still doing the same crimes in the same area and getting out of jail. So I obviously don't go to my sister's trial. They have the trial. North Carolina does not impose the death penalty. They all got life in prison. The girlfriend's son, he committed the crime when he was 17. So he's up for parole. The father, he was a cocaine dealer. One of those people is the person that killed my sister. He was a cocaine dealer, part of what they call the Mariel boat lift. The son helped, right? But the father was the person charged. Who ended up attacking me? He is from Mexico, illegally in this country. I don't want to come across as someone who's anti-immigration because my father is an immigrant, right? I just personally believe that we should vet who comes into our country, and if someone has a lot of really bad offenses, maybe think twice about letting them stay. This is the consequences of that. So I suffered many, many years of very bad PTSD from this. Very bad. As someone can imagine, my attack happened while I was sleeping, right? So sleep became a luxury for me. I couldn't sleep ever, literally ever. I was dating someone at the time, and I ended up, despite seeing red flags, I ended up moving in with him because I didn't want to be by myself. I was afraid of my own shadow. I struggled even taking a shower because I wanted to hear what was going on all the time. Didn't go back to college for a bit because if someone doesn't have PTSD, they don't quite understand what it's like. And to hear that the person that attacked me is just out in society going about their life, Yeah, it's annoying because he got 2 years. I got a life sentence. So I move in with my boyfriend, despite red flags. It ends up being an abusive relationship. That was probably one of the worst decisions going with him because instead of me healing, it further added to the trauma. He habitually cheated on me, blamed it on me, portrayed our situation as if it wasn't for him, I'd be in a gutter somewhere. And, deep down, I'm a fighter. And after years and years of that, I finally just got angry enough after, I don't know, the third or fourth affair that I caught him with. And I said to myself, I'm going to go back and finish this degree if it kills me. I don't care what happens in my life. I don't care if the sky is falling. I'm going to finish this. That was the best decision I ever did because I went back to school. I changed my degree to pre-med. I was going to go to medical school. When I graduated with a 3.9, I ended up not going to my graduation. I was accepted to medical school. I ended up declining because of him. I was still caught in this web of PTSD and now battered women syndrome. But I was stronger. Every day I was getting better. One day he hit me. It was so awful because the way it happened, it was very similar to my attack. He was throwing me around the room. I got back in bad PTSD mode so bad that I was in bad shape because now he was now on the same level as my attacker. But I still didn't have the courage to leave. I was crying every day, and physically seeing him made me distraught. And every time he walked in the room, I would start crying. And he was being so cold and mean to me now. And I know why in hindsight. He could see that I was getting better, and he wanted to stop me from getting better because he knew if I was strong, I would either leave or things wouldn't remain the same. And men like that want to keep control over you. I didn't even know why I was saying that, to be honest. That's what was coming out of my mouth. I kept praying, and I had turned away from the church for many years. And I remember when I went to church and the priest started speaking, the first words out of his mouth when he was doing his sermon were, "Pain is a sign from God that something isn't right in your life." And I started to cry. And I went home and I left that day, and I never went back. I committed to therapy. That got rid of a lot of my PTSD. Started working real estate, and I've been a top producer in the United States, and I'm living probably the most amazing life I've ever lived in my life.